Hi, my name is Gabrielle Fruget, and this is my recording partner, Amanda. I chose Amanda as my recording partner because she's been my friend for a long time, and I know she won't be too resistant to the counseling process. I also know that she'll be good at role plays, and hopefully we don't laugh too much. Hi, Amanda. My name is Gabby Fruget, and I'm a student at Bellevue University. I'm not a licensed counselor, but I'm working towards my master's degree in clinical counseling. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you that anything you say in here between us is going to stay between us unless sometimes if I feel that you may pose harm to yourself or someone else, I'll have to tell the authorities, or if there's any suspicion of child neglect and abuse or elder abuse. So, to get started, I'll just ask you a few questions. Amanda, how old are you?
I'm 34.
And where are you from?
Seattle, Washington.
Do you live near here?
Yes.
In a house or an apartment?
In a house.
And
With my parents.
With your parents?
Yes.
You have any kids?
2. 10-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl.
Okay, and what are their names?
David and Elizabeth.
Okay. So Amanda, what brings you here today?
Well, I kind of feel like maybe the divorce, I just got divorced about 10 months ago, and I kind of feel like it's put me in a downward spiral. And I'm not sure if I know how to get out of it. I feel like I'm getting depressed, and I want to keep myself from getting too far down.
Okay, could you give me some examples of how you think it's causing a downward spiral?
Well, I feel like maybe I might be neglecting my kids a little bit, putting a bunch of the responsibilities on my parents instead of taking care of them myself. My son has shown, signs that he's blaming me for the divorce, and it's hard for me to not blame myself in the process, and which makes it hard for me to want to do anything for them or for myself or for my parents. And I know I need to get back on my feet and be able to provide for them, but all of this emotion going through my head with the divorce and everything, it's making it hard for me to want to do anything.
And how are you feeling about the divorce?
Well, I didn't want it. He left me for somebody younger and somebody he thought would make him happier, and he didn't want to try and work things out. So, we had been together since we were in high school, and I honestly thought everything was good, and we'd grow old and help with our grandkids and everything. So it was kind of a shock. I'm still processing it.
Okay. Can you explain to me why you think your son blames you for the divorce?
I think maybe he thinks I did something to cause his dad to not love me anymore. Like, maybe I stopped being a certain way, or I stopped showing him affection, or I stopped doing something. I changed, maybe, because they still have a great relationship with him. And I'm not sure if there's been any bad talk, about me coming from him, or if it's just something he's observing. I'm not sure. He kind of shuts down about it. He won't talk to me.
Well, do you think you've been a bad parent?
I didn't think so until all of this started to surface.
Okay. Are the kids spending a lot of time with their dad?
No. They want to, but his dad's been busy a lot with his new girlfriend and trying to settle into a new life with her, and they see him every other weekend. So.
And do you think that there's any way that you can help your son to make him feel that it's not so much your fault? Is there anything that you think you could help with that?
Not that I know of. I mean, I would think this is just something he's going to have to work through. As he gets older, I hope maybe he starts to see different things going on, not just with me, but with his dad, and hopefully things will be clearer for him.
Okay, well, hopefully that's something that we can work on in the future. In the beginning, you did talk about feeling depressed. Can you tell me some feelings of your depression or how that affects you on a daily basis?
Well, it makes it hard for me to want to get out of bed, that's for sure. I have a hard time sleeping, period, and so I stay tired constantly. And I just don't have that. I used to be so positive and outgoing, and I would laugh all the time, and I haven't done that in months, and since before the divorce, and it's just I'm just not happy at all. Like, even you would think having my kids with me would help, and it's hard, you know.
Could you think of any activities that you and your kids could do together that could maybe bring the happiness or joy back?
Well, my daughter will still do things with me. We'll play cards or board games or something like that. Or if she wants me to teach her how to cook something or whatever, we'll bake cookies. But my son's pretty distant. I'm having a hard time getting through to him, and trying to figure out how to reconnect with him.
Okay. Sometimes when people are depressed, they do lack some self-care skills. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you allowing yourself enough time to de-stress? Are you eating properly?
Well, I mean, I might not eat as much as most people, but I'm just not as hungry. I'm not that hungry. I'll eat. I don't starve myself, but you know.
Do you often drink alcohol or use any
No,
kind of drugs?
no, I'm not a big drinker, and I've never been a fan of drugs.
Okay, so you mentioned playing cards with your daughter, to have fun, or are there some other activities maybe you could incorporate? Maybe like once a week or something that could help bring your son closer to you, or something different y'all could try?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, he likes to play his video games, and as much as I try to be a part of whatever it is he likes to do,
Hmm.
as soon as I try to be a part of it, he shuts it off and walks away, and he'll start doing something else.
Okay. Um, and how is it living with your parents? I know you said you felt like a burden, and
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that my mom's constantly nagging me about how much of a failure I was in my marriage, but
does she tell you yet that you're a failure?
not in so many words. But it doesn't take a genius to figure it out.
Could you explain some of the things that she says or does that makes you think you're a failure?
It's just those underlining jabs where it's I'll be talking to her about needing to get back on my feet and figure out what I'm going to do for a job, and she'll just make these comments like, well, maybe you wouldn't have to worry about that if, things would have worked out better. Or maybe you should be a little more girly. Or maybe you should dress better. Or maybe you should lose some weight.
And what do you feel whenever she says those things? Or
Really just annoyed. Like I don't have enough on my plate already.
and has your relationship with your mom always been that way, or is that a recent thing since you moved in?
I think it's always been there. It's just gotten more pronounced since I moved in.
And when she tells you those kind of things, do you say anything back to her, or
No, I just let her talk. I don't really have the energy to fight her.
do you think things would change maybe if you would say something to her about it?
Probably not. I mean, it's her personality, and I just feel like if I try to ignore her and just not let it seep in and let it turn into anger, I'll be able to keep the peace while we're there. I don't want to cause any more drama, you know.
And how are things with you and your dad?
Oh, well, I'm Daddy's little girl, so.
So things
good.
haven't been too difficult between you and him while you live there?
No, he's happy to have us.
And your parents get along with your kids pretty well?
Oh, yeah. They spoil them.
So I would imagine it's been pretty much of an adjustment for all of y'all, really. You know, your mom, dad, the kids, and you.
Oh, yeah.
Do y'all ever have fun together? All of y'all together?
Well, we try. I try. And, I mean, Elizabeth, she has fun, yeah, and I'm sure David has fun when I'm not around, but he totally shuts down anytime I'm in the room with him.
Have you ever tried to talk to him on a one-on-one basis about how he's feeling, or?
I have tried, but he always answers the same way. Nothing's wrong, I'm fine. But then, it's nothing. He never laughs, he never jokes, he never talks to me about anything. Nothing.
Has his grades changed any at school?
Well, they were never great, so they've stayed about average. Yeah.
Did you ever think about maybe getting him maybe a journal he could write in, or draw pictures in about how he's feeling, so that maybe he could express some of those things to you?
I've never thought about it.
I mean, do you think he would even want to do that, or?
I don't know, but it's worth a shot.
I mean, sometimes that works. You know, you can just give him a little tablet of paper and he can draw in it or write maybe, and just say, you know, whenever you feel comfortable, maybe you can show this to mommy and maybe I can understand how you're feeling. So your relationship with him right now, does he even talk to you, or
No.
he just ignores you?
He'll answer, one word answers if I ask him about school or whatever, but he doesn't open up.
And do you think that the way your relationship with him has affected your relationship with your daughter?
No, I think she sees him being a brat about it.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with my daughter hasn't changed at all.
Do you think she gets sad or upset that?
She definitely does. She misses her daddy, and I understand that, of course, but she knows that I love her and I'll always be there for her, and she misses her daddy. She doesn't know all the details, of course. She's a little too young, but
Mm-hmm. So where do you work, Amanda?
Well, I'm not working anywhere right now. I'm going on interviews, but no one seems to want to hire me yet. I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 10 years, so
Well, that's a job in itself for sure.
yeah. So it's been a little tough trying to find someone who's willing to give me a chance.
So what do you make of that? You know, used to be a housewife and stay-at-home mom, and now you have to go out into the workforce.
Well, it kind of makes me mad. My husband allowed me this time to raise our kids and to be there for them for everything, for sports and school, and now it's like, because of him wanting this divorce, I have to take my time away from the kids.
Sorry for that brief interruption. So we were talking about you having to go back out in the workforce and looking for employment. Do you have any ideas about what kind of jobs you would like?
The last job I had, I was right out of high school, and I was working at a department store in the mall. But that's not really something. I mean, if it's all I could get, then I would take it. But I think I'd really like something starting out part time, so I could still transition from being home with my kids and doing for them, and not having to miss out on anything, but still, be able to provide for them.
What kind of jobs have you been looking at?
Mostly retail stuff, like clerk jobs at like pharmacies, or I thought about maybe even trying to substitute teach. But I'm not sure how my kids would feel about that if I were to be subbing at their school, or you know. But I think it would be something I would be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot more schools than just the school they go to.
Yeah.
Have you tried any type of staffing agencies or gone that route or anything like that?
I went to one. I've been told before that they're usually pretty good about finding people jobs, but the only one I've gone to, I went and sat down with a lady, and she took down all my information, and I did a little test on the computer, but she didn't really give me any positive feedback or anything that sounded very encouraging.
Okay, and to substitute teach, how would you go about doing that?
I don't know. I haven't actually done the research to know what all I have to do in order to be able to do that. So,
okay, so that's definitely something you're interested in looking at more than others, or?
I guess I'd really just like something that will allow me to continue being there for my kids. I don't want to take any more time away from being with them than I already have to.
Okay. So, our session's about to end, but before we go, I'd like to ask you any personal goals that you have for therapy. What kind of expectations do you have, or different things you would like to learn here? Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Maybe name like 3 goals you have.
I guess one goal would be to try to figure out how to put my life back together.
Okay.
Another goal would be to learn how to be independent again. And then I guess another goal would be trying to figure out how to reconnect with my son.
Okay. Those sound like 3 important goals. When you say put your life back together, what do you mean by that?
Well, like how to just get over this slump that this divorce has, put me in. Like how do I move past it? How do I, I don't know. I mean, all the emotions are so jumbled up, and I'm confused, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm just completely at a loss for everything that's going on.
Okay, I'd like to suggest some maybe homework. Everything that I ask is only a suggestion. You don't have to do it. But maybe write a letter to your ex-husband about how you feel about the divorce, or how you think that it changed your life. And, maybe we could take a look at it and see some of those feelings that you're feeling from the divorce. And I also have this book that might help you with reconnecting with your son, but it's basically about putting your family back together after a divorce. But I think you'll find some useful information. You can borrow it as long as you need.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think it's about time to stop. You have any questions before we go?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, would you like to come back and talk to me next week?
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful. I need to try something, so.
Okay, well, it was nice meeting with you, Amanda.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
I'll see you next week at this same time.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I hope you have a good night.
You too.